building relationships. So Vince will be speaking about rethinking the proper role of government. As he gets his slides put up.
Thank you. Luckily with YouTube, you can actually edit the video after you upload it. So this is not actually going to be there when I'm done. So, alright, now. Rethinking the proper role of government. Alright, so what if I told you that today, in the next few minutes, we're going to get you to completely reconsider how you think about government? Mind. I actually saw a picture of JFK, and it was just a picture of JFK, and at the bottom it said mind blown. I was like, what's that? And I thought, oh, that's offensive. So I didn't show that picture. Mind blown. So how most people think about government currently? I believe whatever should be like whatever. So I think we should force everyone to be like that. That's how most people think. You think, how do I feel? What makes me think that this is the way that it is? What are my beliefs? What makes me think that something should be a certain way? I am then going to force that on other people. There are plenty of times where those are good things that you're trying to enforce on other people. People, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't hurt other people in this way. A lot of times they come from good places, right? But the idea is, I feel it's this way, so I'm going to force other people to behave like that. You often hear the phrase, there ought to be a law, right? We ought to make other people do what we think they should do. A lot of people think that government workers are somehow special and that they have super rights. Like, because you're wearing a blue costume, all of a sudden you get to do things that you couldn't do before. Or get a gold star, and now you're somehow special. That's what people think. Another thing I hear a lot is government and society. When we talk about, should there be a law to do this, should there be a law to do that, people say society should help other people. Society should provide for this. And I notice that conflation a lot, and I think that's really dangerous. So problems with that. Well, in case you haven't really figured out yet, we don't always agree on things. So if James thinks that something should be a certain way, he's going to force Loris to do it. And Loris thinks that something should be a certain way, and he's going to get Muhammad to do it. And Muhammad thinks it should be a different way, so he's going to get Beth to do it. Guess what? All of a sudden, fights start propping up. And NIMBY, I don't know if you ever heard of that before. It's not in my backyard. A lot of times people will always have this principled stance of, I think that we should always do this in these particular circumstances. But then all of a sudden it goes to affect them directly. They're like, no, we shouldn't do that. Just in this much. Because when they're put in the other person's shoes, all of a sudden they see it a little differently. Maybe they shouldn't have the power to be able to force on other people whatever they feel. Accidental ulterior motives. Now, sometimes when you're presented with a situation, you kind of see through rose-colored glasses by accident. You're not intentionally trying to say, well, this will benefit me, or this will work out in my favor if I do this. You just accidentally, because something's going to benefit you, or you're going to somehow work out getting the better hand of this, all of a sudden your opinions start to swim. And of course, there are intentional ulterior motives, meaning, if I can get people to, for example, if I can trick people into thinking that giving me, a billionaire, $500 million to build a building where I can pay millionaires to play a kids game, I should do it. Much as I love the Vikings, I don't think that building stadiums for people playing a game is really a proper function of government. Government employees are just people. They're just you and me. We all could have been cops. We all could have been politicians, whatever. They're just people. They're nothing special. They don't have super rights. I can do everything a police officer can do. I can arrest you if you commit a crime. You ever heard of a citizen's arrest? Hey, we can all do what cops do. It's just that that's their job, right? They're the ones that are supposed to be looking out for that while we do the other things. Government has no role in society. I want you to really let that sink in. Government is not society. It has no role in society. Society is beliefs, people, common attitudes, things like that. That's not what government is. What is the proper role? I say there's only one role of government. Protect rights. That's it. You have rights, by way of existing. Meaning, when you're born, you have rights. And, of course, if you look at the Constitution, or if you have any kind of faith, you feel that rights are bestowed by your Creator. Government can only take away rights. You have rights by the fact that you exist. Government can only take away rights. Can't give you rights. You already have them. People can only take rights from you. You should be able to do anything that you want, no matter what it is, as long as you don't infringe upon the rights of others. So, for example, I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do any kind of illegal narcotic. I don't jam forks in my thigh. But if you want to do any of these things, feel free. I don't recommend any of those things, especially drinking. That's terrible. Fork in the thigh, yeah, that's pretty bad. But anyway, you should be able to do whatever you want, so long as you don't infringe upon the rights of others. Society's role. Well, all of the other things we talked about, all of the feel-good things that we think there ought to be a law for, and all the things that we think we should enforce upon other people, that's where society's role is. So, in reality, a lot of times when we think we should help people out, we should do this, we should do that, we agree. We actually agree on that. But you don't have to force other people to do those. We should do what we feel is right, and do what you feel is right. So we are way more efficient than the government. Whenever we want to do something, we want to carry something out, we're going to do a lot better job than government is, especially because a lot of these people they just have jobs, for example. They just have a job to do whatever. They're shuffling papers, they're doing whatever. When you do it voluntarily, it's because you actually care about it. You're going to do a better job of it. Charity is a lot more beneficial, a lot more functional than governments are. They do a lot more good. We are a lot more accountable. When something goes wrong, we have to change. If we're not helping the people that we're trying to help, people are going to start donating to a different charity. Far more transparent, because people are going to want to know what's going on. There's competition, things like that. And of course, it's the big thing here. The society doesn't have a monopoly on force. Government does. So you can choose to do something else. You can always choose to be outside of whatever company or charity or whatever it is. You can always choose to go elsewhere. You can't choose to be part of another government. You can't say, let's build another government. They'll kill you. You can't do that. And of course, there's no resentment. What if we want to force other people to do a really good thing, right? But there's a small section of people that just don't really want to be forced to do that, or they want to do it a little bit differently. You're going to have a lot of resentment. You might even have resentment for your entire cause. So, I wanted to bring up the non-aggression principle. Aggression is inherently illegitimate. That's kind of the basis for the non-aggression principle. You cannot infringe upon others' rights. You cannot force or coerce anyone to do anything at all, and that includes government. So, basically, you can do whatever you want as long as you don't infringe upon other people's rights. But as soon as somebody crosses, as soon as somebody starts force, then you can, for example, defend yourself. Conclusion. We don't get to dictate to others what they're going to do. No matter what you feel, no matter how you think certain things should be, you don't get to dictate things to other people. Don't save me from me. Right? Sometimes you have a good point. Other times you don't. For example, it's illegal to drink raw milk. I still do it. Government isn't special. They have to do the thing. They have to be bound by the same kind of laws and rules that we do. They don't have special rights. They don't have extra rights just because they put on a funny costume and wear funny hats. They're not special. Okay? Everything should happen via voluntary association, and all voluntary agreements should be recognized by everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Vince. So now our next speaker shared a concert memory. He reminded me, though, that concerts are a lot more than just the flashy lights and the acrobats or whatever flashy thing that we have.